Well, good evening, you all. And as you all see, here we are on night school. And normally, you all know we do this on Mondays, at 5 o'clock p.m. But I thought just to be a great time to have a conversation with my friend, Dr. Wendy Talley, because it's a question that always comes up in my DM. And so I wanted to be able to start talking about this because I believe it is so necessary. And so I am so glad that she said yes, that she would come on and she would talk about it because a lot of people got this question and they're really afraid to ask the question. And so I'm ready to talk about it. Wendy, you ready to talk about it?
Let's get it. Let's get it.
Well, here we are on my night school, and it literally is night, especially for you all that may be watching this on the East Coast, down south, as I call it, Wendy, the dirty South. Um,
Hey.
us here in California, it's still a little bit late, but I wanted to have this conversation with you, and I'm so glad you said yes, because it is a conversation that is so necessary because I have a lot of people that ask the question, am I too old to change my career? And so many of you all may not know Wendy, but Wendy is a powerhouse. See, she has her doctorate degree, just received her doctorate degree from USC. She has her own practice. She's a psychotherapist that helps a lot of people who are going through the challenges of the struggle, the challenges of transitioning. And what better person to talk about this than her? So welcome to the show, Dr. Wendy.
Yes, yes. Can you hear me clearly?
I can hear you clearly. You good?
I am good.
Okay. I think it might be a little bit of a
Little
delay,
static,
just a teensy bit,
just a teeny bit.
but we can
So,
hear you
yes,
though.
yes. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, Latanya, on this amazing show. And I appreciate it. Man, sometimes you don't know your friends until you really get to know them. You're like, wow, I'm in a room with somebody amazing. Like, I have
You,
no clue.
girl, you
So
too much.
I'm just excited to be here with you. You are a gem. And this question, it comes up quite a bit, but it
Yeah.
comes up in the dark corners, of the
Yes,
room where nobody want to talk about, especially when it talks about age, right?
that's
And
right.
what is it like to move to the next step in your life? So thank you for having me on.
And that is so true. I'm glad you said that because people ask the question in the dark. Because
Yeah,
I'll get the DM in the dark.
yeah,
Because it's a situation where people really do not want to share their age.
yeah,
But it really is okay because as they say now, the new 60, well, the new 60 is now the new 40, and all these
exactly.
other things. But people really, are really trying to figure out if it is okay to transition to a new career when they're now in their 50s and when they're in their 60s, because now people are living longer lives. So let's talk about this, Wendy. I want to get your thoughts in regards to that. Shed some light on that, especially now with the practice that you run, dealing with so many people that are going through the transitional phase. Talk to us about that. Is it okay? Are people too old? Because I'm gonna throw a monkey wrench at you in a minute though.
Right. Well, first we want to throw out the word old, right? We don't want to say that. We don't want to say old because we are living longer and more people who are seasoned, right? They're
Right.
fabulous to over 50, and sexy 60, and vivacious 70,
That's
all of those
right.
different ages, right? We are living longer and healthier lives.
That's
Yes, we
right.
are in a pandemic and all of that. But
Yeah.
prior to the pandemic, and even during the pandemic, people are paying more attention to their health. And more people over the age of 45 is really focused on living not just longer, but they want to live successfully.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what does that look like? It looks like anything that you may decide it will be. Some people want to live successfully by having, of course, good health,
Yeah.
being able to, if they want to retire, that they retire to have something else to go into. It may not be another career. It could be like they want to travel. They want to start focusing on another business,
Mhm.
whatever that may be, spending more time with family, whatever success looks like to you at your current state,
Yeah.
right? That's what people want to be able to do that. And they want to do it with a clear mind,
Yeah.
an intact mind, right? They want to be able to still have those limbs that they can
That's
still
right.
move and do all those wonderful things. And let's just put it out there on a table. Some of us still want to have a healthier sex life too, as we get older, because
Mm.
women do tend to peak again in their 50s
Certain
and
age.
60s
That's
and
right.
even 70s.
That's real talk. That's real talk. Even in their 70s, they're doing it in their 70s because they're working out. People are taking better care of themselves in that respect. And so what do you say then? Because I'm sure a lot of people, because the question comes up so often, and I know too that they're concerned about their finances. So what do you tell those people that are literally scared to step out because they may not be happy in the career they're in, but
Hmm.
they're financially stable? So what do you
Okay.
say in regards to stuff like that?
Absolutely. If you have already set a nice nest egg, right? You have done what you're supposed to do. We call it the old school thinking, right? The good old work ethic. Well, that good old work ethic got us here, okay? So let's not
Okay.
get rid of that. It's that work until you have a good pension, a good retirement. You have placed your money in
Okay.
various investments. You've got your life insurance policies. Things are taken care of. We need to start doing that in our 20s, not so late. But some people start out late, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But we need to start doing that in our 20s. And so some people have done that. They've spent 30, 40 years on a job. That may sound like a long time, especially
Right.
to our millennials. But we have to understand something. People don't always think past 30. The
No.
average individual doesn't think past 30. Our millennials are not thinking past 35. So if you're not even thinking that you're going to have a life past that age, you're going to do things haphazardly, right?
Yeah.
So when it comes to finances is so important. It's not about having money in the bank, but it's about your overall wealth and your portfolio. What does that look like? From investments, from property, real estate, even human real estate, right? Relational currency. Who's part of your network, right? And how you all can work together. So when you've got somebody that's pretty much financially stable and they want to do something next, because even though they may be done with the job, but they're not done with life,
Yeah.
what I will suggest is this. If you're not interested in going back to school and getting a whole new career, you spent 30, 40 years on a job. You've developed all of these skill sets. You can run the company better than the CEO. You can run the company better than the the HR department director. You could be the CFO. You know, all of those things. So what talents and skills do you already have that you can actually create a business idea? And I would say do that, but do it to where you're having fun, not where it feels like work, because you've already done that work already.
Now that is so true because you've already done the work. Now it's time to have some fun
Fun.
because there are so many people, Wendy, that I've seen that are just, and even young. I'm getting a little bit of a feedback.
Mhm.
Even young that are in jobs, they're in careers, and they really don't want to be there. So then you would say to the people that are more mature and more seasoned, that it's okay
It
to
is.
change. Okay.
Absolutely. It is okay because that's what keeps you young. That's
Yeah.
what keeps your mind going. You know, some of it, my parents was of age. My father was born in 1924. My mother was born in 1933. So my
Hmm.
thinking of, outside of a lot of my friends, a lot of my friends' parents were my brothers and sisters' age, right? So I wasn't being raised by them. I was being raised by the silent generation, right? And so this belief that, keeping your mind right, they always want to. What do they say? I just want to still do. We didn't understand. What do you mean by you still want to do? Do what? And
Yeah.
they didn't care. As long as it was something that can constantly keep their mind going, they can keep doing something so they can keep thinking, right? So that
Hmm.
keeps your mind healthy because your brain deteriorates. It does. It gets older.
It
Your
does.
body may be still looking good. You're working out at Planet Fitness. You got your snatch back. You're looking good with your gray beard, looking sexy and all that other good stuff.
All of
But if
that.
your mind is right, if your mind is not right, it means nothing. And so I think that if people can just actually, look at the skills that they have, what can you teach a company?
Yeah.
You can be a consultant. You can actually train other people to do those kinds of jobs, and
Yeah.
you are a coach or a consultant. You
That's right.
literally can do all kinds of different things, but as long as you keep your mind growing. And I say this, make time to read.
Oh, oh, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm
Yeah.
glad you brought that up. Somebody say, yes, Lord, salt and pepper. It's real. But I'm glad you brought that up, Wendy, because a lot of times people have put the books down, and you really have need to start pulling the books up and reading. I have done so much reading because not only does it keep your mind, going, but also you can learn so much more. And two, so what we're saying here to you all, it's okay to step out in something different because we don't realize how much we've already learned just from years of servants, things that we've done. We know so
Absolutely.
much. People know so much. So you can step out and you can pick up new clientele. You can pick up new customers, new consumers. I'm big on that with the customers, but it's okay to do it. So what do you even say to the young people that are in dead end careers? What would you say to them that are afraid to step out? It's the
You
same, but
know,
come on.
Absolutely. I get that a lot. A lot of my clientele are people between the age of 25
Yeah,
and 40. And they're really struggling with the fact that they've been developed with this mindset or this obligation from school and going to college that they
yeah,
have to stay on a job, that they're afraid to step out. They are afraid to feel like they are worthy. Now I'm gonna go. I'm not a preacher, right? I'm not a
well, go on
prophetess,
and
but
preach
I
though.
will say this. Faith without works is dead. And if
It's
God
dead.
can bet on you, then you need to bet on yourself. It's about faith. You have to understand something. When you are in a position, right? I want everybody to pay this attention to me, those that are listening. If you are in a job or any situation, really, even a relationship, or you in a partnership in a business, whatever that may be, if you're finding yourself to have some struggle, if you're finding yourself having, you want to leave, you're not sleeping well, you're crying, your stomach is hurting, you're having headaches, you just don't want to be there. That is God telling you it is time to transition. It is that time that you have got to a level and you no longer can fit. You have outgrown this. So you have to jump and leap and go out on faith. But I always tell people this, have a plan, but make and start on that plan right away. Don't create these 6 months, 1 year, 5 year plans. That's too long. You're going to fail. You're setting yourself up to
Exactly.
fail. Set
Right.
those 30-day goals, 60-day goals. I wouldn't go past 90, but I will set up a plan. What's my next step? What am I afraid to do? And what am I willing to do in the fear to obtain what I'm so afraid to go after? Because fear will only keep you stagnant. It will
Yeah.
limit you. So to the young people, you don't want to you don't want to what am I saying? You don't want to like
Be
say an exact
fearful.
reason to move forward. The best thing for you to do is this. Sit back for a little bit, maybe talk to a career coach, talk to somebody that is invested in you, and write out what is it that you would like to do, and what are the skills or the people you need to acquire to do those things. That's what I would suggest.
And that's exactly it. And so and thank you, Dr. Yvette, because she said she heard a little bit of an echo. And okay, good, but we can still hear you, Dr. Wendy. And I think your screen may be frozen, but we can still hear everything that you are saying.
Hmm.
And someone said, "Preach, Dr. Talley." And so I'm glad you're talking about that. I'm going to let you continue on because it sounds like when I speak, I'm hearing an echo. And so in that, because you deal with so many people that are struggling with challenges, and you're dealing with so many people that are going through the transitional period, what
Uh-huh.
would we then say to those folks that are really they really don't have anyone they can talk to help them transition into the next phase? What would you say to those people that really are thinking, I want to transition, but who do I talk to help me through the process? What would you say in regards to that?
Get yourself a career consultant, a career coach. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's first and foremost. But I will say this, make sure that career consultant or coach is certified and bona fide, not
Uh-oh.
somebody that just had some sort of, candy type of response, right? And they
Yeah,
got this, this 30-minute training session, and now all of a sudden they
that's
can
right.
change your life. No, get somebody. I'm just being realistic. And I guess because
No, that's
when you
real.
got people like myself and you
Yeah,
who have worked hard to gain these skills, you've put hundreds and
that's
thousands of
right.
dollars, you've
Gone to
had
school.
some life experiences.
That's right.
You want somebody that you want to respect, but at the same time, that can understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying young people can't be bona fide and certified. I actually had went through a coaching session with someone who was much younger than me, but I needed that different perspective. And this person was certified and bona fide in what they were doing. And I really liked that. So I would say look for somebody that can really help you create those strategies.
Yeah.
There's also like a strategist consultant and or coach. They're very good at those things. Look for somebody that can assist you with that, because first thing somebody want to say is, I want to run to a therapist to see if I can do this. Therapy is about the treatment of your mental health. We
Mhm.
deal with the emotional distress issues. If Yes, it's scary, and you're having some
Yeah.
anxiety and stress and all of those types of things, but it's not impacting you,
Yeah.
right, for your
Yeah.
ability to function. So some people would say run to a therapist. I say not necessarily. So I would say
Hmm.
run to somebody who's skilled in that particular
Hmm.
framework, right, that can be able to assist you. Now if they pick up there's some emotional barriers,
Hmm.
then move to a therapist that will also, at the same time, you're working with both people, not one or the other, but you're getting your emotional issues, those barriers that are preventing you from doing those things, and then you're getting your strategist or your career coach to help you design that thing. It's a team effort. Don't do this by yourself.
Do not do it by yourself. And I'm glad you brought up the emotional piece,
Yes.
because a lot of people have gone through the divorce,
Yes.
and they're left alone. Now they're trying to figure it all out again because now they have this new life.
Yeah.
And so oh, I'm glad you brought that up, girl. We can be here for another 30 minutes just talking about that. So let's talk a little bit about that emotional aspect of it, because you have to be, or people say, quote unquote, you need to be emotionally available or emotionally ready. I don't know the true term to all of that, but what do
Mhm.
you say to those persons that, let's add that layer on there, that have gone through the divorce? Now they're looking to find themselves again because they've worked in that particular career that they really didn't want to be in. What do you say those that have gone through the divorce and now want to step out? Woo,
Wow,
that's
that's
emotional.
a mouthful. Yes, that's a mouthful in itself. That's a whole nother podcast and probably like three or four different sessions after that.
Right.
because we
Right.
can touch on some things, right? But what I
Right.
will say to this, when you've gone through a divorce, you're looking to start a new career, maybe a new life, because your whole life, watch this, has been designed around that marriage.
Yes.
You have your career may have been in regards to how that marriage was designed, right? It could be the based off of the fact that your husband or your wife moved to a different area because their company put them in a certain location, but then now you had to go pick something up just so that you can have something to do, or you were a housewife or a house husband
Right.
the entire marriage. y-
Right.
there's so many different facets to that. What do you do when you are looking to reinvent yourself after you've been in a situation you no longer want to be in and you're divorced from it? You're divorced from the relationship and you're divorced from the job that was connected and reminded you of the marriage. That
Exactly.
in itself is emotional distress. It can even bring you a level of depression
Yeah.
and anxiety. You can feel like you don't have the ability anymore, low self esteem, you lack value. All of those things could come up, and even some health challenges.
Right.
Latanya, people will stress over something to the point where they will make themselves emotionally sick.
Mm-hmm. I
Stress
believe.
and anxiety creates headaches. It can
Mm-hmm.
gain weight, especially around the stomach
That's
area,
right.
okay?
That's right. That's
Right.
right.
Those kinds of different things can happen. So just really quickly, I would just say to those, because again, that's a mouthful in itself. When you're dealing with those types of transitions, when you're going through a divorce, the first thing you want to do is talk to a loved one. What have you
Okay.
seen me do that I'm really good at? I may not even know about.
That's good.
Because
That's good.
managing, don't minimize being a housewife now. That's leadership,
That's work.
that's supervision, that's
That's right.
consultation. You are a medical consultant. You
That's
have to pay attention to details. You
right.
got to make sure you are a handy person.
Right.
You got to make sure that you are in tune with people's behaviors. My God, what did I just talk about? You can be a
That's
project
right.
manager. You can be a
All of it.
human resource assistant. You can help people start their own, you can help people develop their own leadership abilities.
That's right.
You can
That's
even
right.
be a motivational speaker. I mean,
That's
because
right.
you're constantly having to keep up your spouse, you're keeping up
That's
with your
right.
kids, you got
Everything.
to keep them going. But talk to your loved ones. What have you seen me do that
Mm-hmm.
has been really good that I can use those as transferable skills, right?
Mm-hmm.
The next thing would be to look at what would you be interested in. Maybe you
Mm-hmm.
want to do something you never thought you could do.
Yeah.
Maybe you
Yeah.
think maybe I'm just too of age and I can't do that. There is nothing on this planet that you are too old or too
That's
young or
right.
too seasoned to do. It's not about just doing it. It's about how you do it.
How you
It's
do.
how you do it. So I
Wow.
would say that just really quickly, because again, that's a mouthful, but talk to your loved ones. Put out a list of the things that you would like to do. Look at an old resume. Be willing to maybe do some volunteer work to
Yeah.
create your relational currency. It's okay to start at entry level because you got to
It's okay.
figure it all out. Please, everyone, it's okay to start at the beginning
That's
because it's your beginning that will determine your end. And I
wow.
don't care if you're 50, I don't care if you're 65, I don't care if you're 85. Start from the beginning because you have the ability to do it and have faith and take the leap.
And take the leap. Did you say leap or lead? Because the
Leap.
leap,
L E
that's
A
it.
P.
And
Yes.
that is, I'm glad you saying this. This is a conversation. It's going to have to be a part two, Wendy,
Yeah.
because I was sharing with people, like I was talking to my sister, when I first went back to school. I've been out of school for years. I mean, years. And I literally started back at the beginning. Was I afraid at the beginning? Yep. Let's go and keep it real. I definitely
Hmm.
was, because it's been so many years. And all that stuff goes through your mind. Oh, I got to sit in the classroom with these young folk, all that. But I had a ball. But it's like you said, you got to take that leap, and then you take that leap, then you step into it. And
Right.
before you know it, now you're into something new that you just simply love doing. And you don't know what doors are going to open up after that, because doors are going to open.
Yes.
for people to do what they do. Because I don't believe in going out in those last years of our lives just stuck, you know. And I think that leads to depression. I think that leads
Yes.
to people just being stagnant. What do you
Yes.
say in regards to that? Because a lot of people just get up, go, and come back home, do nothing. What do
Yeah.
you, I mean, what do you say in regards to that?
And that's just existing. We call
Yeah,
that you're just existing. You're being a robot to
existing.
life.
Yeah.
You're just doing what is required, right?
Wow.
We
That's
talk about,
good.
think about the work ethic. We all learned the work ethic, right? What is that? Go
Yeah.
to school, get a good job, stay there until you die, get your pension, right? Get the
Get that
golden watch,
pension.
right? That that's not it anymore. They're not giving out golden watches anymore.
Not do.
They, barely even giving out any pensions because we don't even know where financially the United States is in a
That's right.
stagnant position. They're stuck and they're making poor decisions financially, and we can look at that and see, right?
That's
So
right.
when you talk about being stuck, yes, it does cause an emotional disturbance, right?
Hmm.
You will have symptoms of depression. And I want to say something. Some people think depression means, oh, I'm sad or I'm
Hmm.
crying. No, since depression can look like lack of eating, lack of sleep. You're stressed out. You have high functioning anxiety, right? You're even angry. You're
Hmm.
snapping at people. You got poor impulse. Things are, somebody will say something to you and you bite their head off,
Right.
right? You're not eating that well. You may find yourself crying at moments, right? You don't understand. You're confused. You have foggy thoughts.
Yeah.
Depression can show up in many different
All
ways,
time.
but you need a trained clinician or medical doctor to be able to diagnose you as that. So don't walk around trying to say, oh, I'm depressed. Don't speak death into
Oof.
life. Okay. I'm going off of faith.
Oof.
Watch your words, right? So if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like you're existing, that is the time where you need to be able to say is it's not about what is it that I want to do, but what is it do I desire?
What
What
is
do
it
I
do
desire?
I desire? And another thing that I want to add to that
Hmm.
is purpose. I think a
Yes.
lot of times people don't just step into the purpose of what it is that they're called to do, because when you
Hmm.
begin to step into that purpose, that's where that passion lies. That's what,
Right.
you're supposed to be doing in life. And so we don't want people to miss it. We want people to be able to feel free, to let go of the fear, to step into that thing that you love, that purpose that you are called to. Because I truly believe, Wendy, it is that thing on the inside, that purpose, that passion is the thing that we are called to do.
Yeah.
Whether you're doing it on the side, whatever, but find things that are going to make you happy, things that are going to make you feel fulfilled. And I would say to people, even though we're talking to the more seasoned generation, because they're the ones who ask the question, I want to say this to our younger people too. Don't just step into something because you see it as, I may get more money doing this. Step into something that you will love to do, and it'll continue to go on and on and on. And so, as we wrap this up, Dr. Wendy Talley, give us your final comments for this evening to those people that may be feeling as though they're fearful to step out, or they don't know what to do next. What would be your final words to those persons that they want to, but I don't know what to do?
Yeah. Again, in order for anybody to make this step, I want to first take away the idea of this magical pill, right? The
Okay.
magical pill of if I just do this one thing, everything will be okay. It's not just
Mm-hmm.
one thing, it's a multitude of things, but it's the work that you do. So the first thing I would say is write a manifestation list. What are the
Mm-hmm.
things that you desire? Don't think about can I do it? I'm too old, all this other. Forget that. Just
Forget it.
write a list of all the things that you desire and that
That's
you
right.
love, things that you wish you could do, things
That's
that you
right.
want to do. It's just a list. It's yours,
It's a
right?
list.
And that's all you do is you're just going to write that list, right? And then what you're going to do is you're going to create some SMART goals around that. Pick
Mm-hmm.
one thing out of
Right.
that list. Okay, let me give it to you. Let me give everybody this. I want everyone to write 10 things that they desire to do in the next phase of their life. I don't care
Mm-hmm.
what it is. Go big or go home, right? 10 things. And out of those 10 things, I want you to choose just one thing. Just create some goals around it. I'm not
Yeah.
telling you to do anything, but I want you to be intentional and non-negotiable about your dreams. If you
Yeah.
just do this list and create the goals around that and then start figuring out who can help you do it, what I'm telling you to do, this is going to snowball. But if you don't take the
That's
first
it.
step to take everything that's in your head and in your heart and pour that thing out and use this magic pen, it's the pen. Write it and make it plain,
That's it.
and he
That's the
will
word.
bless it. That's what I
That's
would say
it.
for tonight.
That's it. And that's it right there. Begin to write things out. Write it out. And I always call it, Wendy, your advantage points. What is it? What have you accomplished? Things, because a lot of times we forget to write down the things that we've done in life. All of those things, and you would be surprised what will come up out of that. And so thank you so much, Dr. Wendy, for being a part of this episode, because I definitely wanted to be able to shed light on those people who are having difficulty trying to figure out, I really don't want to be here. I want to do something else so I can enjoy the rest of my life. And so thank you so much for sharing that information. And people can always go back and rewatch it over and over and over again, because sometimes people just need to be encouraged, just to
Exactly.
hear the words from someone else. And so, just in case people need to connect with you, can you share your information with our viewers, um, Dr. Wendy?
Absolutely. Find me
Yeah.
on social media, Instagram and Facebook, at Wendy Talley, DSWLCSW. Got to put those credentials in there. So I'm on Instagram and Facebook.
That's right.
You can also find me on LinkedIn, under my name as well. And also to my website,
Yep. That's it.
www.drwendytalley.com.
And that's it, you guys. I mean, just simply amazing. And thank you so much for sharing all of your knowledge, your nuggets with us on this show. I so appreciate you, and I so appreciate you taking out the time, because I know you are still in the office, taking out the time just to be with me, little old me, this evening. And so, you all, once again, realize that it's okay to step out and those things that you want to step out into. Have encourage. You can make it happen. And I say, until next time, we'll see you all next week on this amazing night school.